Hari Om. Hari Om all. We'll start this session with our Shanti Mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om to one and all present here. I welcome all the delegates and our eminent speakers and our guests in this conference. This workshop is on manuscriptology, and in this budding era of artificial intelligence and technological advancements, the term manuscripts gets us curious. Manuscripts, as we know, are different historical recordings found handwritten by many scholars and courtsmen. However, have you ever wondered whether the manuscript has a field of study as to understand about its appearance, its nature, its uses, and its purposes? This study of manuscripts will elaborate. This study of manuscripts will be elaborated in this workshop on manuscriptology held by our own beloved Professor Gauri Mahulikar, Academic Director of Chinmaya International Foundation. She is a PhD scholar in Sanskrit and has won lots of awards. She is a first class at BA and MA from Mumbai University and a recipient of gold medal. More than 90 research papers she has published in English, Marathi, Sanskrit, and Hindi in various journals. She is also a recipient of Manekji Limji Gold Medal for her dissertation in ancient Greek drama and Bharata's Natya Shastra. She also received Kavi Kulaguru Kalidasa Sanskrit Sadhana Puraskar in 2019 from Maharashtra State Government. Ma'am, the whole dais is yours, ma'am.
something which is handwritten. Now you also are taking some notes. Can it be called a manuscript? Yes, after 70 years. So, I mean, the value goes on increasing after 70 years. It can really have the value of manuscript, you know. Scripts are there. Mostly in India, whatever manuscripts we find, the language is Sanskrit, but the scripts vary. Especially here in Kerala, if we see the manuscripts in our SIF library or Trivandrum library, you know, or in Saraswati Mahal library, which is the largest repository of palm leaf manuscripts, the Lipyasana is palm leaf, the Talapatra, and the Lipi, the script could be Grantha, Velathattu, Tamil, Malayalam, Telugu, Halegannada, any script. The language would be Sanskrit. The scripts vary. The language normally is Sanskrit. Okay. So various scripts like Modi, Sharada, it is not Modi, it is Modi, which is there in Maharashtra, Modi script, especially during the Maratha regime, you know, Shivaji Maharaj, Peshwas and all. We have the Modi manuscripts. And Modi is like the running Devanagari script. It is resembling the Gujarati and Marathi, both. So Modi we have in Gujarat also and in Maharashtra also. Then Sharada belongs to the Kashmirian script is Sharada. Then we have, Malayalam, Nevari, Nagari, Devanagari, so many things. And then the Lipyasana could be the birch bark, Bhurjapatra or Talapatra, palm leaf, or cloth, or even skin. Sometimes, especially in the Mughal period, we have manuscript written on skin. Indians normally don't use skin for writing anything, but the Mughal manuscripts we find in skin also. Or the scroll, you know. And when the paper was invented, handmade paper, in SIF library, if you get some breathing time, please do visit the SIF library and see the oldest cloth, not cloth, we have the paper manuscripts, and a scroll also we have with beautiful Ramayana, Odisha type of painting of Ramayana. And the topics vary, you know, it's not only Veda and Vedanta or Karmakanda or Jyotisha or Ganita. There are physics and chemistry and so many other branches of knowledge which are covered through these manuscripts. So when writing in any script was yet not known, pictures told you all. It was all through the pictures. So how this writing evolved? There are so many stages of writing. For example, the first comes pictures. Small child also can decipher a picture. What is there through that picture? What does it convey? You know, everything is very visible. So pictograph or pictogram is the first stage. And in fact, in mathematics, we use lots of pictures like squares, triangles, etc. Even the numbers which we put, 32, the positioning of the number, that's also a visual form. It's a picture for us. 32. 302, if you change the position, the meaning changes. So the picture talk to you. Pictures talk to you. I'm going to give you some pictures and I'm going to ask you, please keep the mics also ready. Then wavy lines, for example, they indicate water. So whenever you are showing rivers or oceans, seas, etc., water reservoirs, you just don't draw a straight line. You draw a wavy line indicating water. Then came ideograph. After pictograph came ideograph. Ideas. For example, flower represents love. And therefore rose is given as the symbol of love, right? So flowers, sun to convey light, and light speaks of energy, light speaks of knowledge. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Moon talks about night, and sun and moon together talk about eternity. Sun and moon, Yavat Chandra Divakarau. So if you see any of the rock inscriptions, I will be showing you one which was found in my native place in Karnataka, a rock inscription. So the Surya and Chandra will be inscribed there, so that Shila Shasana is valid as long as the sun and the moon are there. So sun and moon together talk about eternity. Then came alphabets, ideograph, and then we have the alphabet slowly evolving. So picture of an I with the phoneme and the morpheme of I. Phoneme, the sound, and morpheme, the form. The morph is the form, right? So morphology and phonology, the basic things of linguistics. So that is how we have alphabets. From alphabets, the last stage is script. It is not that Devanagari was invented in a day. It's not that Roman script was invented in a day. So we started from pictograph, script, and then these are the different stages of writing in the history of writing. So now, for example, these are the ancient most cave paintings in Bhimbetka caves in Madhya Pradesh near Bhopal. So this is a scene, perhaps you are not able to see it so clearly, but then this is a scene, you know, where there are so many people on horses and one person has taken a lance in his hand. Obviously, they are out for hunting. Obviously, they are out for hunting, or it's a war, or it could be also because next picture is of the animals, etc. There, you know, in front. I couldn't have all these pictures together, so I have divided them. And this is also a tusked elephant you find in Bhimbetka caves. And Bhimbetka cave paintings go back to millions of years, not only thousands, millions of years. So even if you visit Madhya Pradesh anytime, don't forget to visit Bhojpur Shiva temple, which is incomplete, but then you can see the ramp, you know, built. You are from Madhya Pradesh, so you know. And don't forget to visit this Bhimbetka caves. These are the international, I should say, monuments one should visit to know our civilization, to know our history and our legacy. Now this, of course, the Padmapani from Ajanta caves, everybody knows. And then this is Chaturanga, on which Aman Gopal is going to speak, right? So Chaturanga, I mean, this is also as old as a human being. It's not that the games have developed at a very later civilized state of mankind. It's not like that. So as the person evolved, the human beings evolved, the games, the diversions, etc. evolved with them, okay? Now the modern pictographs, I want you to tell what does it signify, okay? Each picture one by one. Of course, yeah, not this slide, perhaps the next slide. The modern pictographs is like, you know, kachra, kachra, kude mein hi dalo. You know, this, only the sign is enough. Nobody has to give you the direction in words. Pictograph, how do we use it? In airports, in bus stations, in railway stations, we use so many pictographs, right? Then signs also help you to cover something. In mathematics, we use pictographs very often. For example, you see, there is a key, one smiley represents 4 children, and then you give this math sum to young boys, you know. So bus में कितने students है, car में how many students travel, walking how many students come, and then you multiply by 4. So in math, we use so many things like apples and this and that. We can use so many different keys. So what I mean to say is pictographs speak a lot to us. Now I want you to decipher the picture. This is a picture. A potter is making a pot. Anybody who would like to say something on it? What does it signify? In Marathi, Hindi, English, Sanskrit, any language you can speak. Gujarati also I can understand. Kumbhakar hai, pot bana raha hai. So this is something giving shape. You know, when we say this is giving shape, grooming somebody. Bana raha hai pot means it is grooming somebody. Kisi ko shape de raha hai. Huh? Then we come to the next picture. This is like a pot which is used for, it is a utilitarian object. In some other places, Then we have, like earthen potware or earthenware, painted earthenware. We talk about the painted grey ware, earthenware of Mesolithic age and this age and that age. So these are like, you have your own aesthetics and creativity depicted on the pot. Then we have this pot, which signifies what? Kalasha. Kalasha signifies any auspicious thing. It can be used in Vivaha, it can be used in Upanayana, it can be used in Puja or Havan. So this symbolizes, this is not just a ghata. This becomes Kalasha. So the same earthen pot, how it, connotes different things. So pictures speak to you. Then the same ghatam, it can be used for as an instrument. Very much eye-case instrument to play. And then the last picture of Ghatam, what is it? It is the last rite, Antyeshti. So our journey, this talks about the human life. I feel these are not just pictures. These talk about the entire cycle of a human existence, right from birth and giving shape to the last rite. So this is the potential in pictures, okay? And many times, why I have incorporated this is, many times we have the manuscripts which are illustrated. So you have to decipher the illustrations and then read the text. So pictures associated with ideas, this is a Varli painting, very popular in Maharashtra, and Bhimbetka caves also we have similar paintings. All ancient drawings, all ancient paintings are like this. The human being is like two triangles. Upper triangle inverted and the lower triangle that speaks of their body. And then, so this is what, this is like a Vivaha ceremony. See, there is somebody, a woman in the palanquin. So she is being carried. So nobody tells you what it is about, but still, from pictures, you can build up the stories. This is another picture, again a Varli painting. And this is, like an animal is surrounded by so many people. So it is hunting expedition. And then they are playing on drums and this and that. They are dancing there after killing the prey, So this is all, one is the Vivaha and the other is the hunting expedition. So pictures talk to us, okay? And similarly, from pictograph only the script has come. So if pictures talk to us, the letters, the alphabets also need to talk to us. Okay, that is the point I want to drive. Now this is the oldest Indus script writing, which many people like Mayank Vahi and all whom I have met in Mumbai, he was working in Tata Institute of Social Sciences. So he has claimed to have deciphered the Indus script. Many people try their level best to decipher it. So this sign, it speaks of a jar, and jar connotes priest. The picture doesn't connote priest, but the jar connotes the priest. So it is the denotation and connotation. Both meanings are included in that. Lance, for example, this is a lance that will speak of a warrior, okay, warrior class. So this is the teaching class, this is the fighting class. One is the Brahma, the other is the Kshatriya, okay. Then we have just a man, maybe a servant, okay. He is serving us. Then he carries something, so he is a load bearer. Something he is carrying with his hand, so he is bearer. So he takes some responsibility on his shoulder. Maybe he is an officer, he bears the load, he bears the responsibility of so many people. So he is the officer. Then this bearer connected with jar plus bearer is a priestly officer. That is how the pictures go on adding the details, and then you get the what does it really mean, okay? Similarly, the lance and the bearer is the main warrior or the senapati. There is the lance, there is the man, the bearer, the officer, so it will be a senapati. Similarly, a harrow, a furrow, created by a plowshare, it indicates the farmer. So this is how pictures, from pictures we got words. From pictures, we got ideas. See, if you remember the second, third slide, pictograph, ideograph, and then alphabet, then the script. So this is the development of that. Now I want you to read this. This is a Madhumalati manuscript of 14th century written by one Chaturbhujadasa, and I translated it into English. There are beautiful Kota style miniature paintings, and which was worked by an art historian called Dr. Manjari Thakur with me. So this is a picture. With this picture, what does it contain? Can anybody tell me? This is a workshop, you have to get involved. I can't just go on blah, blah, blah. It's not a lecture. It's a workshop. So I need your participation. You help me in reading the picture. If you can't, then I will have to do it. What is it? Ganapati is there, and do you see something unique or extraordinary in Ganesha and Saraswati? There is Saraswati and there is Ganesha, right? Something unusual? Face is different. Okay, that's a Kota style. Anything else? Saraswati? Saraswati pe diadem nahi hai. There is no mukuta. There is no kirita. Okay. And the peacock looks like a cock. Isn't it? The peacock, remove the P, it looks like a cock. Okay. Then Ganesha is seated on a Sahasradala Kamala. We have never seen Ganesha seated on a Kamala, right? Ganesha is seated on a Kamala. Normally, it is Saraswati who would be seated either on a peacock or a swan or a Kamala. But then it is here Ganesha. And see the Kirita of Ganesha, that is also unique. We don't see such Kirita anywhere. The Kirita, see the three lotuses there on the Kirita, one in the middle and two at the side, the Kalika Rupa, the Mukula, you know. So this is something different. And at the background, there is a skyline. Blue color indicates the skyline, but there is an orange hue also. So maybe it's a sunrise, right? Orange color you can see. So this is how you have to read the picture. Now, I won't take much time. So the striking color of the foreground captures the eye of the viewers. This typical Kota style of painting delineates the horizon in the distance because there are trees, there is something, and it's a three-dimensional picture, right? And the horizon in the distance has a narrow strip in the sky, the palms, the mountains with a bright orange hue indicating dawn. Green, yellow, and orange are the striking colors noticed in the most of the folios of this Madhumalati manuscript. And Ganesha, Saraswati are depicted in an unusual manner. And if you see the man who is fanning Saraswati, that fan is also something different. It is just a strip of cloth. It's not a regular vyajana or a regular fan, you know, which is used for fanning somebody. This is like a piece of cloth as if he's beating, you know. I mean, kaise lag raha hai wo? It's not a regular fan, is it not? So it is something different. This is also from the same Madhumalati. That is Malati and this is Madhu. This is the romantic story between Madhu and Malati. And this Malati Madhava of Uttara Ramacharita Bhavabhuti is supposedly, you know, is the source of this. This is the 14th century. Bhavabhuti was in 7th century. So he was much earlier. And there is a Sufi poet. There was a Sufi poet called Manjan. And Manjan's Madhumalati is very famous. You can ask Google Swami, Googalam Sharanam Braja. So you will get so many Madhumalati versions. But the one which I studied, I translated, this is an illustrated, very big, you know, 1.5 feet long handmade paper. And on that, beautiful pictures and sometimes the text. Sometimes the text will be only 2-3 lines. And the picture will occupy the entire page. Very beautiful manuscript, you know. And this is, you know, like she is throwing a piece of paper to attract his attention. The partition is made, she is inside. Both are studying with a guru. This is the ancient Gurukula system where the girls and the boys will not study together. I mean, not in the same prakoshta. There will be a curtain, there will be some veil, some partition. The girls will be studying inside, from inside, and he is studying outside. Okay, now the guru has gone to for some other work, and she wants to attract his attention. She has made a ball of the paper or some flower, and she's throwing at him. Fulagenda maro. You remember this, the song, Fulagenda maro? So this is something like that. Very beautiful story also. Now, how we started writing? I haven't yet come to manuscript, right? How we started writing? Pandulekhane, falake, bhumau va prathamam likhet. First, you have to, while engraving something or writing something, either on the paper or a copper plate or a stone or any other lipyasana, first you do it on bhumi, on sand, on ashes, like dhul pati. In Marathi, we had dhul pati. In dhuli, you first write Shri or Ga, and then that is how you learn writing. And Nyunadikam to Sanshodhya, you see there first, that is your like a blueprint, and from there, Nyunam Kim, Adhikam Kim, iti vichintya, Paschat Patre Niveshayet. Later on, because once you carve anything, once you inscribe anything on a hard metal or a rock, you can't erase it. You can't erase it, right? And therefore, Nyunadikam to Sanshodhya Paschat Patre Niveshayet. I mentioned about the Bhojpur Shiva temple. In the Bhojpur Shiva temple, if you have seen that. So there is, the blueprint, as the engineers have that blue paper, blueprint of the design and everything. First they make it and then they implement it. So there is on the large slab of a stone, it is all carved. How many pillars, what size, what dimension, what will be the design of every pillar. So that blueprint is there. And then this was supposedly the highest lingam we had. Unfortunately, the Paramara king left it incomplete because of the invasions of the Mughals. He had to flee away and the temple was incomplete. But the ramp which he had built to carry the stones for the logistical conveyance and transportations of goods and all, that ramp still exists. From that you can infer, from known to unknown, from this ramp you can infer how much efforts they must have been, people must have taken to carry the 80-ton one single stone as a kalasha on Brihadishwara temple. How much longer the ramp might have been, and especially when the granite is not grown in the nearby area. It is not. Think of the logistics and all the transportation and all the things which our ancestors engaged in before building such a huge temple. Now lipi, we come to lipi, lipa upadehe, that is the verb, lipa upadehe, upadeho vriddhihi. Upadeha is what? Deha is body. Upadeha, something you add to the body, something you take near the body, that is vriddhi. So anointing, smearing, covering, etc. For example, Marathi mein limpne, bhinti limpne, and lep we apply anointing. That is also from the same lipa. Lipa plus ik becomes lipi, rekha samudaya rupa, carving, engraving, covering, etc., etc. From that, this is called graph. Graph is to write. Epigraph, epi is upon. You write something upon something, that becomes an epigraph. And you write in something, it becomes an inscription. Epigraph, writing on the rock, writing like for example Ashokan rock edicts or the copper plates, etc. Then inscription, scribe in, and therefore it is carving or copper plates, etc. So glyphe is the verb, carving. And then we have so many words like hieroglyphs, graphologist, graffiti, graphite, pencil, pencil mein what we use is graphite. So many words from the same thing, graphite, graffiti, calligraphy. Kalos is beautiful, and therefore calligraphy is beautiful handwriting. And then we have graphologist, a person who reads your mind by seeing your handwriting, right? Now these are the various lekhana sadhanani. What are the means of writing? The picture is taken of the lekhana sadhana preserved in the Mumbai University Rajabai Tower Library, because I had undertaken a project of 5 years, digital preservation of palm leaf manuscripts in Rajabai Tower building. So the picture is the real picture, which perhaps H.D. Wellandkar, than our first head of the department, 60 years back. Recently, we celebrated the Diamond Jubilee of our department in Mumbai University. So, Shalaka, Lekhani, Tulika, Kurchaha. Kurcha is brush. Then Shalaka is a stylus. It's a sharp iron pointer, with which you engrave even on the palm leaf, you engrave. It is not written. It is not written with a pen or a pencil, neither it is painted with a brush, it is, and you can see the stylus, etc. in our SIF library. Then Dhatu Patra, Masi Patra, Hastidanta, Bhurja Patra, Tala Patra, Charma, Agaru Patra. In Odisha, we have Agaru Patra, for the Lipyasana. So these are various types of Lekhana. Manuscript as such, it could be divided depending upon the content in which it is written, in the format in which it is written. For example, it is Ekapatha, text written in continuation. See, for example, continuous one text is written. No diversion there, no break in there. Sometimes it is Dvipatha, text split by a illustration. Upar line hai, niche line hai. In between, there is a illustration. So it is called Dvipatha. There are 2 pathas, up and down. Okay. Then it could be 3 patha, like picture in the middle, this side text, this side text. Similarly, it could be Chaturpatha or Panchapatha. Chatushpatha, Panchapatha. This is a Chatushpatha example. Similarly, we can have Panchapatha. In between, there will be a picture, and all 4 sides there will be writing, Sahitya. Okay. So these are the types of the manuscripts. Now, what are all the things which are the accessories of manuscripts? It's a type again, Mushti Pustakam. For example, we have the small Bhagavad Gita, I always carry it in my purse. So like a small Mushti Pustaka, Shunda Pustaka, like a scroll, Shunda Pustaka. Then Chitra Pustaka is an illustrated manuscript. Nagadantamayam Yantram, that is the book holder, something like this. We use it even now. For reading Bhagavatam, for reading Ramayanam, sacred books, we use this. Then Vidyadhara, board or to hold the palm leaf. Then Talapatrani, Charmana, Samputi Kritayam, Manjushayam. Sometimes there is a Manjusha, a wooden box, and that wooden box gets painted and all that. In Mumbai University Library, there is an old Jain manuscript on Tattvartha Digama Sutra Tika. And that is like a palm leaf manuscript written in Devanagari, and the language is Sanskrit and Ardhamagadi. Ardhamagadi and Sanskrit. So I deciphered only the colophon and the first page when we celebrated the 150th year, sesquicentennial year of Mumbai University. It's so huge, like this 1.5 feet long Talapatra. And the Manjush decorated with organic colors, the lata and pushpa and all that, very beautifully decorated. Then we have, what is the contribution of manuscripts? Why should we study manuscripts? Ancient manuscripts are storehouses of knowledge on different branches of knowledge and even sciences. And deciphering various scripts is the key to unearth this hidden treasure. And this becomes sometimes very difficult, manuscript. Okay. And I am here, but I can't read Malayalam script. Now, how will I do it? So, in that, yesterday while talking to Ganti ji, I learned that AICTE division threw open a challenge to the engineers, and they made it as a project that they will photograph the manuscript and it will automatically convert it into Devanagari script. I said this will be a boon for all the manuscript readers. 50 or 60% of your labor is saved. You need not study the script. So how science can help us decipher that. When I was doing the project, I said, two assistants were working under me and they were supposed to do the status report of every manuscript, palm leaf manuscript. Status report means what? Have you ever studied any manuscript or done? Yeah. So status report means you just, like a descriptive cataloging method, you first have to say how long it is, how many folios are there, how many lines in a folio, how many words in a line. So these many words are there in a folio. That is one. Then if there are any missing letters, the corners are, like have they become brittle and they're lost. Sometimes in the middle, the thread goes, inside the middle to tie up the manuscript, and the portion beyond, besides the thread, that becomes worn out, and therefore the letters are missing. So how many letters are missing? If there are pests, how many holes they have created? And they were doing it manually. I had a student who was studying Sharada script under our course of Manuscriptology. She is still there in Mumbai University. She's a computer engineer. She said, "Madam, I can help you in this." Status report, doing it manually, with this lens, you have to see, because with naked eyes seeing that and counting every hole is very tedious job. And then she developed a program that one photograph of that, and it will count how many holes are there in 2 by 2 inch square. How helpful it was. I mean, all the labor was saved, and the assistants could just, devote their time in deciphering it and not counting the holes in every. So this is how we can help each other. The engineers, there are so many engineers here, I learn. So this is a challenge to you, how you can program something which will help us to unearth this treasure which is there yet undeciphered by many, right? A challenge. Then sometimes scripts vary, languages remain the same, Sanskrit. So knowledge of necessary. But now if that is brought into Devanagari, it will be like a boon for everybody. At the end of the manuscript, now there is something interesting. If this was all the wisdom which I was just trying to put in your heads, this is something very interesting now. Colophons at the end, they write about, as in the manuscript, the beginning is always by the Ganesha Stuti, Saraswati Stuti, Guru Stuti and all that. And at the end, the scribe, the writer, mentions about which year he has scribed it, where he has scribed it, all that. So this is very, very important. It is called Pushpika. Colophon is called Pushpika. This is very, very important. And how they write the dates is very, very interesting. Very cryptic manner. Not in, like 2023, I went for a conference. Not like that. 2023, they will write in a different manner. I want you to do that. Okay. For example, Vachaspati Mishra, who wrote Bhamati, Shankara Bhashya Tika. So he wrote in this Nyaya Suchi Nibandha in Samvat 898, and how he has written that 898, it is Samvat, okay? Vasu Anka Vasu Vatsare Nibandhoyam Akari. By me, this Nibandha was made in Vasu Anka Vasu. Vasu is, there are Ashtavasu. You have to be conversant and familiar with Indian culture, Indian ethos to decipher the dates here. Vasu is Ashtavasu. Anka is number. How many numbers are there? 9. 0 is not a number. There are Anka means 9. And again Vasu, Vasu Anka Vasu. So this is very simple. Now we go to little difficult. Udayanacharya, Nyaya Tatparya Tika, he writes, Tarkambaranka Pramiteshvatiteshu Shakantataha. He refers to Shaka, not Samvat. Shakantataha. Varsheshu Udayanaschakre Lakshanavalim. Udayana did the Tika Lakshanavali, and it was done in, I have given the number, I shouldn't have given. So Tarka, Ambara, Anka. Tarka is Nyaya, but Tarka here represents the Darshana. And therefore, how many darshanas are there? Shad. Ambara is sky, that is Shunya. And then Anka is 9. So 906 Shake. Bhaskaracharya, Leelavati Karta, he writes Rasagunamaye Varshe Virachitoyam Granthaha. Rasagunamaye Varshe. Rasa and Ankanam Vamato Gatihi in Sanskrit. Ankanam Vamato Gatihi. Rasas are 6. Now somebody may ask me, why not Navarasas of Sahitya? Right? Now again you have to see what is the historicity, the chronology of Leelavati, and when was the 9th rasa introduced. The 9th rasa was introduced by Udbhata or Vagbhata. Udbhata, some 10th, 11th century. So till then we had only Ashtarasas which were given by Bharata, Natyeshtau Rasasmritaha. So Navarasa Sankalpana was not there at the time of Leelavati, at the time of Bhaskaracharya. So Rasa means Shadrasa, that is Katvamla Lavana Tyushna, Lavana, etc. The Shadrasas which Bharata also speaks of in Panakarasanyaya, etc. So Shadrasa and Gunas are 3. So Rasa Gunamaye Varshe, Rasa will come in the units place, Guna will come in the tens place, it becomes 36. When he was 36, he composed Leelavati. Right? Interesting, Allah? Now, Nidhi, Naga, Ibha, Vanyabde, Vibhave, Shankarodayaha, Kalautu Shalivahasya, Sakhendu Shata Saptake. Nidhi, Naga and Ibha. This is Kalyabda. This is from one of the Shankara Digvijayas. I am working on Shankara's project, so reading so many Vijayas. So this is the Kali era, and he is saying Nidhi. Nidhi is Navanidhi of Kubera. So 9 number comes. Then Naga is elephant. There are Ashtadiggajas, and therefore 8. Again Ibha also is a synonym for elephant, Naga, and therefore Ibhanana, Ganesha is called Ibhanana. Okay, and therefore another 8 comes, and then Vanhi is 3. Why? Dakshinagni, Ahavaniyagni, and Garhapatyagni, 3 Agnis. And therefore, so this is so very rooted in Indian culture. If you don't know that, what Vanhi represents the number 3. Now this is all you can say, the ancient people, and somebody writes here, Kalautu Shalivahasya, Shalivaha is Shalivahana, Sakhendu Shata Saptake. The Shaka is Sakha Indu, Kha Indu Sahita, Kha is Shunya, Indu, Chandra is only 1, and Sapta Shatake, 70. Okay, Sakhendu Indu Shatake. Now we come to Parikshit Sharma, the writer of the Parikshit Nataka Chakram, here from Kerala. Okay, the local author, he wrote Maharana Pratapa Charitam. And in that, how he has given the birth year of Maharana Pratap. Very interesting. Shunya, Veda, Mahaprana, Shashi Samvatsare Priyaha, Jeshthe Tithyam Navamyam Sa, Jato Rana Mahodayaha. Shunya is 0. Put 0 in the units place. Then Veda is 4. So in the tens place would come 4. Then Mahaprana. Mahaprana, how many? Prana, 5. So 5. And Shashi, 1. So 1, 5, 4, 0. Tally it. 1, 5, 4, 0, he was born. Right? So this is how the dates are given. Now there is an exercise. You all be ready with your pad and pen. I give you 10 minutes. No, 5 minutes is enough. Why don't you write your birth year? Now before that, if you want some clue, I will give you. I will give you everything. For 1, what can we use? Shashi, even Mahi, Prithvi. Whatever is 1, you can be creative and innovative in what you write. Okay? So Mahi or Shashi could be 1. 2 could be eyes. For eyes, there are hundreds of words in Sanskrit. You can use chakshu or nayana or netra or anything, okay? Or you could use Ashwini Kumara. They always come in pairs, okay? Hands, feet, everything what comes in pairs, that represents two. Or you can say, simply say yugma, yugala, that is also two. Three is gunas, triguna. Three is dosha, kafavata pitta. Three is vanhi, agni. Just now we saw agni. So anything for three. For four, Vedas, ashramas, varnas, whatever are four in our Indian ethos. Five, mahabhutas, tanmatras, pranas, Bana, Pandava, Bana, because many times Panchabana, Banendu Shekhare, like something like that, that is used. So Bana is very often used in the manuscripts for denoting Pancha. Shad is Rasa. Okay. Unfortunately, there is nothing else in Shad. Shad Rutu, Shad Darshana. Yeah, Darshana. So that is what it was used here, Tarka, Tarkambara, right? So Shad could be Darshana, Shad could be Rutu, Shad could be Rasas, okay? Sapta. Sapta Swaras, Sapta Rishi, Sapta Varana is not used here. Normally nobody uses. Sapta Dvipa Vasumati. Sapta Dvipa. So Dvipa. Saptapadi. Not really, it is not used. I haven't seen it in any Pushpika so far. Okay, Ashta we saw, Naga, Yubha, and so many words for Ashtadik, but Disha could be misleading. Disha, Dasha, and Dasha we don't have, we have 0. We don't have 10, because numbers are only till 9, you add a 0, right? So, Ashtalakshmi, but Ashtalakshmi concept perhaps is a later concept. So that is never used in the colophons. I haven't seen, Ashtanga Yoga, that could be, but then, yeah, Ashtanga. So that is 8. And 9 is Nidhi. For Nidhi, you can use Kosha or some other word like that. 9, okay? Now your time starts. Your time starts now. Written already. Saptaranga, that's what somebody was saying, Saptavarana. Yeah. You can be innovative now, no problem. This has to come first. Reverse order. Ankanam vamato gatihi. Ankanam vamato gatihi. For example, here you see Shunya Veda Mahaprana. The thing which comes at the end has to be articulated first, has to be written first. You corrected it? Okay. He got, for one, Brahma. He got Brahma. Ekameva Advitiya. So one could be, that's why I said you could be innovative in that. Isn't it interesting? Who says manuscriptology is boring? No, not at all. Now keep your homework with you. I'm not going to check it now because that will waste your and my time. No. Now you can use. They couldn't use it because Navarasa concept was quite new. Historically, it's not that ancient. Now you can use it. We are in 21st century, we can use it now. Everybody's done the exercise? So that was the time, the break for you. Write your birth year. If you can write the entire birth date, like 15th August 1947, something like that. Then that is also wonderful. So next time when you put your birth date in any application form, don't do it. Nobody will understand. If you are supposed to fill up a form and write your birth date, if you write this way, आपको भेजेंगे mental hospital. So this happens in manuscripts. So that's an interesting part of it. I hope you enjoyed the exercise. Okay. Yeah. Now let us move the next. I told you about the rock inscription. This is found in Abbigeri. Abbigeri is a very small, like a village of like Viliyanad or even smaller than that. I was born there in Dharwad district near Gadag and Roan. I was born there. I'm a Kannadiga basically. And this stone was lying outside my ancestral home. And, nobody knew what it was. It could have been gone in the foundation of some other house if nobody had noticed it. Nobody had noticed it. But fortunately for me, my mama's son, Maza Mame Bhau, he happened to visit that place. And because I am into this field, he sent me the picture. And that picture I sent to one of my students who was my manuscriptology student. He presented a paper on that in an archaeological international conference and won the gold medal. I have thanked him. I have thanked him at the end of the presentation. He helped me. He came to my house, Ameya Vaidya. So very brilliant person. So this is, here you have Chandra and Surya both. I was telling you, Chandra Surya both are depicted. That means it talks about eternity. This Shila Shasana talks about eternity. Another very interesting thing, see, this is found in a very core Uttara Kannada village, and yet the language, the script used is not Kannada, the Devanagari. The language is Kannada, but the script which they have used is Devanagari. Interesting, Ila? Very interesting. Reverse. I mean, Kannada is a very old script. We have Hale Kannada also. And we have Kannada manuscripts in the Shilalekhas in Hampi and what is that? Pattadakal. We have the Kannada inscriptions there, carved on the walls. But why this is engraved in a Marathi, not a Marathi, Devanagari script is something interesting. So he deciphered all that comes in the second line. Why, study of such, I mean, not too small, we can't lift it like that, but such stones will be lying anywhere, wherever you go go for sightseeing in historical places. Just try to be very alert and, mindful of what you may get. It may be a treasure which you lay your hand upon. So the thing is, why it is important, it gives you the location. Then, for example, Abbigeri village, Gadag district, Karnataka state, this is for your information. Oval stone slab, this is also slab. You have, like the descriptive cataloging of the manuscripts, you have to describe the inscription as well. This is an oval stone, a smooth surface, clearly and neatly inscribed. Kannada language, Devanagari script, Shri, sun and moon are the symbols. There is Shri also in between, see, in the this one, inscription in the stone. Shri in the middle and Chandra Surya at the side. So salutations to Lord Panchamukha Hanuman. Shrimat Panchamukha Hanuman Vijayate. Swasti Shri Nrupa Shasana 130 Siddharthi J Shu Jeshta Shukla Panchadashi, that is Purnima. Chandra Grahanadalli Anegondi Veera Pratapa Harihara Maharayaru Yerigeri Hemadri Charyarige Abbigeriyalli Mahanyagro, can't see, Marugodhi Adda 8 ಅಡ್ಡ 1 ಮಧ್ಯಮಾಂಗುಳಿ ಇವು 24 ಹಸ್ತ 1 ಇವು 7 ಆದೋಧನು 1 ಇಶು 40 ಹೆಜ್ಜಿ. ಹೆಜ್ಜಿ is feet, ಹೆಜ್ಜಿ, 1 step is called ಹೆಜ್ಜಿ. Okay, so 40 ಹೆಜ್ಜಿ, so 40 steps. So they have given the parimana. Okay, and then ಭೋಗ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಕೊದ್ದು ತಾಮ್ರಶಾಸನ ವರದಿ ನಾಮ ದೂರುಸಿ ಪುರುಹಿರೇ ಗುರು ಏನೋ ಹೆಸರು ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಕೋಪಗ್ರಾಮ ಹಾಗೇರು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದೆ 1 ಪ್ರಭುಮಲ್ಲ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು. So one Prabhumalla has to carry it forward, ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು. He will have to take it ahead. ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು ಕುಲಗುರು ದೇವರಾಯ ಶಿಲಾಶಾಸನ. So that is what it reads, okay? So how many important details you get. It was 31st May 1379, lunar eclipse. Harihara Raya II, who ruled 1377 to 1404. So you can tally the historical data. And this was tallied from the Karnataka Gazetteer, okay? And then Gah Khare in Marathi, there is a very famous book of Gah Khare, and he gives, the Vamshavalis of all the important dynasties in India. Then landmark is Mahanyagrodha tree, a great banyan tree. And the measurement units are Hasta, Madhyamanguli, Hajje, Dhanu. These are the measurement, not a measuring tape like inches and feet and all, or meters. Names of village, Kopaggrama, Simpura, Anegondi, Prabhumalla, the proper names. So many details are there in one piece of stone. So socially important, historically important, politically important, right? So many things you get from manuscript. And therefore manuscripts are worth reading and studying. On the occasion of lunar eclipse, Shaliva Anashaka, I think I should go further now. This is a senior guru from Simapura, Prabhumalla. And this is an inscription of Kulaguru Devaraya. I thank my student Ameya Vaidya for confirming the historical data from this. Then I go to one copper plate. This is from Ratnagiri district, a place called Kasheli. There is a living Surya Mandira. Sun temples are very few. You may name Konark, but it is not a living temple. There is no Vigraha in the temple. Konark I have been. There are many Surya temples, sun temples in India. In Maharashtra, some are living. This is one of such living temples. I had been there with my husband some 15 years back, and I went to that Kanakaditya Kasheli Mandir, and they said we have a Tamra Pata with 3 folios, 3 Tamra Patras, and we can't decipher it. So that Bhagavat or Savre, he came to my house once, and then we sat together and I deciphered it. So if you go any time to Ratnagiri, visit Kanakaditya temple at Kasheli, do ask for Tamrapatra, and they will give you the version of that decipherment. So this is a copper plate at Kasheli, Maharashtra, reconstructed the missing text. And this is available in the Bharatiya Sanshodhan Mandal periodical in the Prachin Marathi Kori Ulekh. They have enlisted that, but the exact Tamrapata was not deciphered by them. They had made an entry. So this is the Kashali temple at Ratnagiri, very beautiful temple. There is a story also for that. And while deciphering that, I talked to the people around, because oral history also matters. It is not only the documented one, oral history also matters. So it has 3 plates joining with a copper ring with Garuda Mudra. And this Garuda Mudra was a symbol of the Bhoja dynasty. So this was given by the Bhoja king, the Shilahara king, Bhoja II. Shilahara king, the Bhoja II. So it is a Danapatra, Bhoja to Shilahara dynasty, to feed 12 Brahmanas from Kasheli near Attavira. Attavira is Adiure. For Marathi people here, Adiure near Ratnagiri, there is a Yogeshwari temple there. And modern Adiure, a small village to the south of Kasheli, which is famous for the temple of Yogeshwari. Bhoja was at the Padmanala Durga. Padmanala Durga is Panhala fort, near near Kolhapur, when he gave this donation. He was not at Ratnagiri, he was at Parnala Durga or Padmanala Durga. Parnala also is another name. And oral history endorses this account. The date mentioned in the copper plate is Shaka 1113, Virodhi Kritanama Samvatsara, and Ashadha Shuddha Chaturthi, Thursday in Dakshinayana. All these details are been given. And Tasya Gramasya Seema, that Kasheli Gramasya Seema has been given there. Purvasyam Dishi Kurala Nama Nadi, there is a river called Kurala. Dakshanasyam, it is Dakshinasyam, I have kept it as it is. Sandura Nama Shushkasrotaha, a dry stream called Sandura. So some details have been given. And then Ambevarika Sthita Pugi Vriksha Samuha Paryantam Seema. Ambevarika is the name of a place, and there is a grove of these betel nut trees. Till then, the Seema of the town. Okay. So there are so many details there, and which I tried to tally with the oral account, gathered from the local people there. And this is the plate 2 obverse side, line 31, 32, and the line 44, the last one. So how I tried to build some of the text. So, I mean, this won't be of interest to you unless you have the manuscript with you, I mean, the Sahitya with you. But there are certain things which by experience, through certain general knowledge, sometimes logic also helps to rebuild the missing text. And this is the line, last one is utkantitam, it should be uttankitam. It is not utkantitam, this is like a metathesis, transportation of syllables we do. Vipra Vamiyanena, one Vipra called Vamiyana, he engraved that. Okay. Now there are when you are asked to submit certain assignments and all, I'm just showing you. This is the way your assignments, your projects, and present it in such a manner. This Ameya Vaidya, who helped me decipher that stone inscription, he was for every program there is a assignment, right? So I had given him some assignment on certain thing, and he presented it in the manuscript form. Very beautiful, with a manjusha, and that also he painted. And there was with him one Mr. Chogle, he is of my age or little younger to me, and he presented it. He has his own house, and there are these trees, outside in his angan, in his courtyard. So the nariyal ka jo patta ye girta hai na, like a boat it is. So he cleans that. He gave treatment to that, because manuscripts can't be written. You take a palm leaf and start engraving on stylus. It can't work. You have to treat it before. So he treated it, washed it, then not sun-dried it. He has to shadow dried it in the home, or keep it above the Agni place, so that the moisture is gone. There are so many things. Then apply some grass oil to that, lemongrass oil and all. So like that, he treated and wrote his assignment on that manuscript. So such innovative ways. So these are certain manuscripts, you can give them the shape of a ship, and then through the eye, you can insert the thread and make it appear like a manuscript. These are the various ways for you to submit your assignments. And you can draw some picture if you're good at it. So you can make a Dvipatha manuscript for that. So whatever you learn, this is the wisdom. Through the ages, it has to go on, continue, percolate, right? It can't be stagnant. It can't be stopped by anybody. So these are some other pictures. This is Om. This is a Sharada script. This was the right one. So I have written, create your own manuscript in this way. This is Om. You see the U and the Akara Matra, and then one Matra above and the Chandrabindi. It symbolizes Om. Okay. And then here it is an Odisha manuscript on Agarupatra, and Hanuman has visited Ravana. There was one beautiful manuscript where, he is competing and vying with Ravana. Ravana is seated on a high throne, so he makes the coils of his pucha and sits, taller than him. That also picture is there. So very beautiful pictures we have. Now I have some last exercise for you. So it's already 10. So construct and correct the text. Many times, you have to construct the text. Sometimes what happens is there are so many scribal errors. When the scribe copies from certain, codex, certain, I have given you a book and I have asked you to make a copy. So you are the scribe, and that copy which you are copying from is the original manuscript written by me or somebody else, right? So while seeing that and writing here, there are some visual errors. Some letters look alike. In Devanagari, ta and na, except for that roundness, they look alike. Gha and dha I have seen gha and dha being misused and, alternatively used where they don't fit in. Like, dushkarma gharma santaptaha, and people write dushkarma dharma santaptaha in Kanakadhara Stotra. Yeah. So dharmam apaniya, it is dharma. How can you apaniya dharma? So you have to apply your mind. So this is a visual error. The scribe may not be, a very intelligent person like you all, and therefore, he therefore he sees it something like something else, and he writes in the same way. And suppose you are the scribe, you give this to your friend and ask the friend to make a copy. He copies you, the mistake continues. The mistake continues. So the editor, the critical editor, has to apply his brain, mind, everything, and reconstruct, sometimes deconstruct, sometimes change. Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institute of Pune has brought about the critical edition of Mahabharata. You all know that. Gauri has brought out the critical edition. The work was going on for 35 years. 35 years, 1 lakh verses. Of course, in the critical edition, we don't have 1 lakh verses, Shatasahasri Samhita. We have some 85,000 plus. Others, they say these are interpolations, this, that. But for that, what amount of manuscripts they have gathered? More than 1,400 manuscripts from every nook and corner and breadth and width of India. They got them together, collated, classified. Then the Dakshina version and Uttara version, like that, Kumbhakonam edition and the Northern edition. And that is how they did it. V.S. Suktankar, the first person, why I'm telling you, for a critical editor, for a manuscript writer or a manuscript editor, textual criticism, you need to go through the Prolegamenon written by V.S. Suktankar before the Adi Parva of Mahabharata. This is the introductory Parva, the Adi Parva. Before that, he has written a long, long prologue. He calls it Prolegamenon, and that itself forms a book. So long it is. So that is the bestest way of textual criticism. Another thing I may tell you, Mahamahopadhyay, Panduranga Vaman Kane, Dharmashastrakara, who you have his volumes on history of Dharmashastra. He has critically edited Harshacharitam of Banavatta. That is a sample piece of textual criticism. If you are interested further for your research or something else, something to do with a textual criticism, gathering manuscripts, collating, classifying, analyzing, and editing, you have to read these things. Okay. Now with that, I come to, yes, Gauri, Prolegamenon by V.S. Suktankar, Vishnu Sakharam Suktankar, V.S. Suktankar, and Harshacharita edition by Mahamahopadhyay, P.V. Kane. Now I... Now this exercise will go on for some time, and then there are question answers. So maybe by 10:30, yeah. So this is the last exercise, in fact, so I just hurried up looking at the clock. I should not disrupt the entire schedule. So now I want you to read the text in a correct manner. Okay, what will be the correct statement you have to tell me. For that, what we need is little knowledge of Sanskrit, little knowledge of how the syllables can be transported. For example, ki matbal hai. Punjabis would say matbal for matlab. Matlab, matabal. Simple thing is, as Yaskacharya in his Nirukta says, Varna viparyayad, varna nashat, varnagamadva, how the words are formed. For example, himsanat simhaha. Himsa is the root. One who does himsa is simha. How we write it? Not himsa, we write it simha. Anaptic, metathesis, right? Transportation. Like hasanat, hausaha, varnagamad. Anuswara is added. Hasa. Hasya is always, it's a poetic concept, it's a Kavi Praudhokti, that Hasya is always considered to be white, bright in color. And therefore, Swan is fully white, bright white in color. And therefore, he is like laughter. He is like smile. But there is a Varanagama, Anuswara, you add Hasa, you add Hamsa to that. Like, for example, this Dwara, Dwaram Kasmat Varayati iti Dwaram. It is from Vru Varayati. It, obstructs people whom we don't want to enter our house. कोई सेल्समैन आ गया, दरवाजा बंद कर दिया उसके मुंह पर. We don't want him to enter. वारयति जनान, द आगम हो गया उसको, वर्णागमात. So very very interesting things, like मुझे वो स्नेही जी मिले थे. स्नेही जी कौन है भाई? स्नेही. स्नेही का अकार ऐड हो गया उसको. प्रेम का माझं तुझ्यावर लई प्रेम हाय. प्रेम. Prema becomes Pirema. Is it not? So there are so many, this Varanagama and all that. We use this many. One simple example, all the North Indians would utter the sa beginning conjunct consonant words with E. Is station, is school. What is that E? That is Varanagama, is it not? That means you cannot write it is, Stri and Istri. Isme antar kya hai? Stri will be like Istri. Are they similar? So somebody has suppose somebody says it's Stri and Stri की जगह Istri लिखते हैं, Istri बोलते हैं. जैसा बोला वैसा लिखा तो क्या आएगा? Istri आएगा Stri की जगह पे. And the person who is copying that, he will copy Istri instead of Stri. अरे Istri का शोध भी लगा था क्या तभी? So this is all these things you have to keep in mind. In the Bhishma Parva, in the Shanti Parva, Bhishma is advising Yudhishthira. There are so many pieces of advices, right? On Rajakarma. You do this, you should not do this. There are so many do's and don'ts. Now, some scribe will add some of his own advices. Some pieces. This is how interpolations take place. Especially in the stories. जैसे हम वो एक क्या Chinese मरमर की क्या खेल है, कानगोष्ट. In Marathi, Kangoshta. I tell you something, she like that, and when the last person speaks it out, ऐसा तो मैंने कहा ही नहीं था. Isn't it? It gets so perverted, so changed, because we hear it only once, we conceive, oh, it must be this, and we make our own version of that. That is how interpolations be. When there is a description of, say, forest, then there are so many trees. People are describing this tree, that tree, that tree, that tree. Abhi Himalaya ka varnan hai, and you are describing Panasa Vruksha there. Is it possible? Critical editor. Panasa can't grow in the Barfila, Himachal ya isme. So it can't be Panasa there. Baki sab theek hai, Panasa nahi aayega udhar. So that is how you have to weed out, weeding out what is unwanted and reading out what is required. So now I want you to read what is required. Aham Vaishwa Naro Bhutva. This was literally found in one of the manuscripts of Mahabharata Critical Edition. Okay, this is from Bhagavad Gita. Now everybody knows the 15th chapter here. So the correct sentence is Aham Vaishwa Naro Bhutva. But see, the scribe who has written it, perhaps, sometimes he applies his mind, which is not there. That's why there are mistakes happening. He is not perhaps aware of the word Vaishwanara. It's a very typically used word for Agni. Vaishwanara is not commonly used. Pavaka, etc. is okay. Agni, Vanni, okay, I know. What is this Vaishwanara? It must be Vaishwanara, because he is familiar with Nara, he is familiar with Shva, so he wrote it separately. And then continues. The critical editor has to put his mind, it has to be Aham. Now this is a very very, very rudimentary for the Sanskrit people or for the Indian people. I should say those who know Bhagavad Gita. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita. This is a Marathi example. रस्त्यात नाचत मासे चालले होते. The literal meaning of this is, on the road, नाचत, dancing, मासे, fish are going. Fish are going dancing on the road. Is it possible? Isn't it funny? Any Marathi, huh? नाचचं काय करणार? नाच, तमासे. रस्त्यात, so how you have to split it? रस्त्यात नाचत मासे, नाच is one word, नाच is नृत्य, and tamasa is one word, so you have to split it. रस्त्यात नाच तमासे चालले होते. Comma kills a man. You know that story, comma kills a man. So where you have to pause, where should be the break in the letter, that you have to be careful about. Rastyat, on the road, naach, dancing are going on, and tamasha, some skits. Tamasha is a folk type of dance in Maharashtra. Now one more example. This is a very famous example. And everybody would say, oh, this is a correct sentence. Correct sentence? Panchakanya smaren nityam. Ahalya Draupadi Sita Tara Mandodari Tatha. Panchakanya smaren nityam mahapataka nashanam. Clear? Right? No? Don't tell me. Perhaps you know it. Anybody else? Is it a right sentence or a wrong sentence? Now you have to apply your mind. Panchakanya, the ladies who are referred to, are they Kanya in the first place? They are not. And Panchakanya is wrong. Panchakanyaha, it could have been. But even otherwise, culturally we know Ahalya, Draupadi, Sita, all are married women. How can you call them Kanya? People who endorse this statement, they say, their virginity remained intact and therefore they can be called Kanya. This is whitewashing. This is whitewashing. The original sentence in this is Panchakam na smaren nityam. Na is naraha. Nru is the word. Like Pitru. Pitru prathama ekavachan becomes pita. Matru prathama ekavachan becomes mata. Nru prathama ekavachan nominative singular becomes na. Panchakam, group of 5. Panchakam na smaren nityam, panchakanna smaren nityam, panchakanna smaren nityam, panchakanya smaren nityam. This is how the mistakes happen. Okay? So the original sentence is Panchakam, like Chatushkam, like Dvitayam, Shadikam, Shatkam, Saptakam, Ashtakam, group of 5 people. Na, Manushyaha, Nityam Smaret. He should remember the group of these 5 ladies. This is Pratasmarana. After Karagre, Vasate, Lakshmi, etc., we do this, right? So this is how we have to be careful. These are funny examples I have chosen for you. This is from our own Ashtottara Shatanamavali, which we recite here in Illam every day. Shankara's Ashtottara Shatanamavali. Okay? And we have a Kavita who come regularly, they might remember. We have a person reciting it there as not Tamo Guna Nivakaraya, Nivarakaya. Tamo Guna Nivakaraya, he would say. Nivakaraya. It should be Tamo Guna Nivarakaya. But he would say invariably Nivakaraya. Nivarakaya becomes Nivakaraya. Metathesis, transposition of the letters. Now suppose this Nivakara goes on like this, somebody would feel, what is Nivakara? It must be Divakara. Because it is Tamoguna. Andhar, andhera hai, to udhar suraj aana chahiye. And then he would apply his mind, which is wrong, at that place, and he would say Tamoguna Divakaraya. Ho gayi mistake once for all. Then you have to correct it. It is not Divakara, It is not Nivakara, it is Nivaraka. See, like Vedanam, Vedana and Devana, Tatraka Paridevana, Bhagavad Gita. Tatraka Paridevana. Many people say Tatraka Parivedana because Devana word is not used, familiar to them. Vedana is familiar. They would recite Tatraka Parivedana. I don't know what is there to grieve. Vedana, okay, good enough. So this is how the mistakes happen. So very, very interesting things you get when you read manuscript. Abravit hasati tada. This is a very common mistake in manuscripts. Hasati is correct or wrong? Wrong. It should be hasanti. It should be, if it is a Shatrashanach, present participle, the feminine could be hasanti, not hasati. People would say, no, tat abravit hasati tada, smilingly she said. But smilingly, it won't be hasati, it will be hasanti. So there is a grammatical mistake. And therefore, the correct sentence is abravit hi sati tada. He sati becomes hasati. He sati. These are two different words, but they become hasati. This is a very common mistake. Now, what people do, if there is a king, the name like Bhupaha, Nirpaha, something like that, then they, to show their own expertise, their knowledge, their intelligence, they will change the word Bhupaha to Bhupalaha, or Bhupatihi, or Nrupatihi, or Vishampatihi. Now somebody doesn't understand the word Vishampatihi. What will he read out of that? Shampatihi, Shempatihi, Shishpatihi. So many mistakes occur from one single mistake. And therefore you have to be very careful in writing. And those who have written already, we are not writing, we are reading. So while reading, we have to be very careful. So this is what I had, I think. Yes, Abravit Hasati Sada. So this is what I had. This is a manuscript of Bhagavad Gita. You can read, here is a Krishna, left side, and right side is Arjuna. This is the Vishwarupa Darshana episode. And Iti Shri Bhagavad Gita Su, that Ukara is missing there. Supanishatsu, that Su should be Dirgha, because Gita Su and Upanishatsu Savarna Dirgha. Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Normally in the manuscript writing, there are no space is given. And if space is not given, it is more difficult for you where to split the word. Okay? And therefore, Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna, that crew is theek hai, Krishna Arjuna Samvade Vishwarupa Darshana tak pad rahe hai. So this is, I think this manuscript was in Baroda Oriental Institute Library, Baroda. So many manuscripts. In fact, I visited this campus, SIF, in 2013 June to visit the manuscript library in SIF. That's how I got connected. And then 2018, I'm here with the blessings of all the Guru Parampara. Thank you so much for your patient listening. If you have any questions. If you have any questions, please shoot. Please, mic de do na unko.
I have one question regarding the last statement. As you are saying that this is the result of mispronunciation, as I pronunciate anything, and there is some mispronunciation by me. So is this the cause of the different language originated? Like I observed some word, like in not only in Sanskrit but in English also, like doshamlo. One is speaking doshamlo in Bengal, typical Bengali, and doshamlo, decimal. Podimiti, he will say podimiti, typical Bengali. Orimetry, perimetry, 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 perimetry. Charitra, character. And like the door. Vidwa. Like this.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
this is the question.
See, if it is language, Sanskrit and other languages, yes, there is a cognate, I mean, one-to-one correspondence we can establish. As far as regional languages are concerned, so from Sanskrit, if regional languages are to be differed, they have their changes according to the geographical area and the cultural scenario in that particular region.
Not the result of pronunciation?
That's why the pronunciation differs, but pronunciation doesn't give rise to a language. The language arises out of the prakritization of Sanskrit. See, Sanskrit is the basic language. From Sanskrit, we have so many prakrits. For example, we have a Maharashtri Prakrit from which Marathi developed. Then we have Ardhamagadhi as a Prakrit, Pali as a Prakrit, Magadhi as a Prakrit, Shauraseni as a Prakrit. From Magadhi, Bihari developed. So at the root of all the regional languages, there are some, I mean a second level, a mid level of Prakrit languages. Sanskrit, then mid level of Prakrit, and then all the regional Indian languages.
Many thanks.
Is there any evolution of Sanskrit? You say from Sanskrit every Prakrit language developed.
You read any book on Indian linguistics, you will come across this.
About how Sanskrit came into such a evolved form initially.
How it came into evolved form, I'll have to go and ask Saraswati Mata or somebody, I don't know, but then it is called as Deva Bhasha, and I can't really explain it because, you know, this Sanskrit originates from the Vedas. Who composed the Vedas? Vedas are Apaurushaya. Vedas are revelations. So who composed the Sanskrit language? The Vedic Sanskrit and the modern Sanskrit are not different. They are one. They are one. It's only the difference. Modern Marathi, Hale Kannada and the modern Kannada, like that Vedic Sanskrit and the modern Sanskrit, people like Max Muller, they have specifically diverted us by saying what you talk is Sanskrit and that is Vedic language. Vedic language is Sanskrit, that is not different. That's an old form of Sanskrit. So it evolved right from the Vedic times. If Vedas are created, then we have to look for the creation of the evolvement or, you know, this enriched language. But if Vedas are revelations, the language is revelation. That is my opinion.
मला एक विचारायचंय.
एक मिनिट. एक minute. Then somebody has to ask. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you familiar with Mexico? In Mexico, the inscriptions over there.
Yes.
So I found something very interesting, and I wanted to know if we have it in India as well. So in the wall, the rock paintings, what I saw was that speech was depicted by scrolls coming out of the mouth. So they were showing people on the rock, and if one scroll, I mean, it was like one wave coming out from the mouth, it means that person is speaking. And if there were 2 lines, it meant that the person is shouting.
Shouting. Oh.
And then 3 lines means that the person is singing. So I was very interested to find that. I had never seen that anywhere, that kind of depiction of speech.
I don't remember if in Bhimbetka we have it. But normally for calling in Indian this thing, I think, I'm not sure whether Bhimbetka has seen. I visited in 2005, almost 20 years back. So action will be like this. That is, somebody is calling. Just, you know, something is coming out, he is speaking. But if he's 1 foot ahead and like this action, that means he's calling somebody. That means he's shouting. Because to the Puluta sound in Sanskrit. Puluta. Puluta is when you are calling somebody, right? It has 3 matras. Rasva has 1 matra, Guru has 2 matras, and Puluta has 3 matras. Like that. It is not A. Like in Kannada, we have 2 A-karas. I. In Devanagari, in Sanskrit, we have A and I. A, I, U, A, I, O. But in Kannada, we have A, I, O, O. two okaras, because this adds to the plitha, right? Language many times, depicts culture. I mean, apart from this, it your thing, but then I'm just remembering something. I want to share it with you. Sometimes how language is related to culture. For example, you have joint families. Then you evolve. Naturally, the language evolves words for everybody, the elder and the younger. Like in Karnataka, we have Daddappa, Doddava, Chikkappa, Chikkavva, the Bada Chacha, Chota Chacha, Badi Chachi, Choti Chachi. In Marathi, we have only Kaka and Kaku or Kaki. Because there is no, families don't live together. Too many brothers, too many, family of 15, 20 people staying together. Like in Gujarati, we have Faima and this and that. How our language depicts our culture, right? I always feel Marathi is little culturally less strong because we don't have different words like Anna Tamma, Akka Tangi. In Kannada, we have Anna is necessarily elder brother, Tamma is younger brother, Akka is elder sister, Tangi is younger sister. We don't have that. We have only, sister, Bahin. But what is Badi, Moti Bahin, Choti Bahin, we don't have. Like Tauji, we have. So many languages we have these words. So, just think on those lines. I was just remembering something is going on in my mind. So I thought I must, whatever I know, I just shoot it out. Yeah, you wanted to ask something.
तत्र अन्तिमपङ्क्तौ अब्रवीत् हि सति तदा इति आसीत् खलु अब्रवीत् ह सति तदा इति भवितुं न शक्यते अर्हति तदेव
अब्रवीत् ह अपि भवितुम् अर्हति
तदेव
In fact, in Nirukta, my favorite scripture, always, what is that? Suppose he is giving some derivation, etymology, Yaska would say, Kasmat dhatoho. Now somebody, I don't remember the name, he was there in Mumbai University Library once, I don't remember, some foreigner, he said, it should not be dhatoho, it should be kasmat hetoho. Kasmat bhetoho. When you write it in sandhi, kasmat plus hetoho, it becomes kasmat bhetoho, the together, and ekara matra, and therefore it is not dhatoho, it should be dhetoho. Kasmat hetoho. On account of what? Not necessarily dhatu every time. His objection was, na sarvani namani akhyata jani. Why are you finding and, cracking your brains on finding a verb behind every word? You can just find out some etymology. What is the karana of the etymology? Hetu and not dhatu. But that kasmat hetoho becomes kasmat dhatoho in the written work on Nirukta. That is his standpoint. That is his hypothesis. Alok, you wanted to ask something? Yeah.
Ma'am, you said in your lecture that there are many interpolations in some works. So what should be our attitude towards those interpolated parts? So for example, in Mahabharata, so in Draupadi Vastraharan episode, so in the critical edition, Shri Krishna doesn't come to help. He directly doesn't come to help Draupadi. But in when we see in Gita Press or in some manuscripts, so Shri Krishna is himself helping Draupadi. So what should be our attitude towards this?
So it depends upon whether you are a critical editor or you are just a Krishna Bhakta. If you are a Krishna Bhakta, you will bring in Krishna no matter what is there. See, in the original Mahabharata, the Draupadi Vastraharana, the entire episode is finished in 1 or 2 verses only in the critical edition. In the critical edition, it is completed in 1 or 2 verses. And we have B.R. Chopra having episode after episode, because that is a dramatic dramatization of the event. Now we don't have the Lakshmana Rekha in the original Valmiki Ramayana, but we accept it because for the society to bring the society on a righteous path, some dharmikta should be attached. Then that Lakshmana Rekha, it is something which is very inspiring, and that was needed, especially during the times of invasion, that was needed. And therefore the Lakshmana Rekha is accepted by all. Ahalya Uddhara, tell me, Ahalya Shila Raghave Uddharili. Ahalya became Shila. Valmiki never talks of being Shila. Never ever. In Balakanda, we have this Ahalya episode. Valmiki describes why this ashrama is desolate. Rama asks, no, there seems to be an ashrama, why it is desolate? And then he tells the story of Gautama and Ahalya. And then the shapa is Nirahara Vatabhaksha Lokanam Adrishya. That is the shapa. You will become Nirahara, you won't have any food. Vatabhaksha, you will subsist on air. And Lokanam Adrishya, you will not be seen by people, you will be outcast, ostracized. So she was ostracized, and therefore the ashrama became desolate. And then Rama went there. Once Ramapada Chinnhankitam, that ashrama abhud, naturally she was mainstreamed. He was a prince to be, prince in coronation. Tomorrow he will be the king. If he goes to the ashrama of that outcast lady, just imagine people will follow the king. Mahajano yena gatasabanta. Isn't it? And therefore Rama going to the ashrama and accepting her folly, she was at a mistake, but she has suffered a lot. In fact, in our Dharma Shastra, we have prayashchitta for everything. There is not death sentence for every crime. There is a prayashchitta. There is an avasara. There is a scope for improvement, rectification, atonement of your sin. She has already undergone all that. She has suffered much. Now she should be mainstreamed. So she was mainstreamed. So Ahalya Uddhara is mainstreaming of a patita. It is not Shila turning that, but that is dramatic. Isn't it dramatic? And now day before yesterday, I think I'm writing Subhashita, every week or something like that. I wrote one Subhashita on that. This is very funny. This is a prasanga of Rama Sita Vivaha. And during the Vivaha, Sita is asked by her Sakhis to salute to Rama, The Vadhu has to bow down her head at the feet of Rama. And then she said, no, I won't do it. Why? Because the bindi mein jo ratna hai, if that turns into a woman on the day of my marriage, I don't want a co-wife. Balaratnam, So, Shikshitapi nanu sakhibhi Sita na nanam Ramacharanayoho. Beautiful Subha. Narma Vinoda. Is it not? So, that becomes dramatic. That attracts attention of people. And that also sends a message. You have to be loyal to your husband. You can't entertain thought of engaging with another man once you get married. So that patinishtha, that message also is given. And secondly, it becomes dramatic. Tulsidas, for example, makes it so dramatic. So that, the Dhivara also is not allowing Prabhu Ramachandra to enter his boat unless he washes the feet. Because Raja Kanase, this is the only source of my livelihood. If it turns into a woman, what will I do? So he goes a step further. This is how, because people like it. And the message reaches in very clear terms, unambiguous terms, right? Okay, last question? Yes. You have to end up, na? Yeah, we are actually delayed.
Okay, ma'am, fine.
So I request all of you, I know
you
that
ask me at the tea time.
Yeah, so sure. all of you can please personally talk to ma'am with all your questions. Now we are totally short of time, so request your cooperation.
Thank you so much, ma'am, to have taken your time and be with us and have enlightened us with the science of manuscripts and manuscriptology. you've made a strong point that we need to be connected with the Indian knowledge system to interpret the manuscripts in different dimensions. So that was the most liking point for myself too. Now I request Girvani ma'am to felicitate Gauri ma'am.
Hari Om. I mean, what I understood today, I should say, Sanskrit is the most beautiful language in terms of, if you interpret in terms of science. No other language matches it, even today. How intelligent they must have been without a paper, pen, computer, digital phone. Today, every gadget is being used. Nothing was there. Now, in the same spirit, I understand if there are any mistakes in the manuscript, in scripting the words or sentences, we should imagine the circumstances under which they wrote the manuscripts, the material they had at that time to write the manuscripts, and the way the manuscripts have been preserved. It's possible. Recently, just 10 days before coming here, one Avadhani showed me copper manuscripts of Ramayana. The language is Sanskrit, but script is Telugu. Perfectly written. He said, you just go through and see if there can be any mistake. I mean, I went through quickly, I didn't have much time. It's on a copper plate. He says it is from 13th century. I was just wondering, I mean, how much learned they were, how much they valued language, how much language has built up relationships between society. You have to look at that point of view. And for every relationship, we have a word in, not only in Sanskrit, because other language derived from that we have, but in English, one thing I always, it's only a cousin, one word.
Cousin, brother-in-law.
You don't know what the meaning of that word is till today. And we use it, and we think English is the best language. I feel English falls short of words to explain what is expressed in Indian languages. And Gauriji has made it much more interesting, very, very interesting, and the science of language is really, I appreciate, and I have heard her, but hearing her was always a pleasure for me.
Hari Om. Thank you, Girvani. Thank you so much, Gauriji. I first would like to apologize to Gauriji because she has been waiting here from 8:25 and our session started only at 9. Our Kalari session went half an hour late because of its, a cascading effect. And so right now, 10:45, please go for a break. Please come back at 11 o'clock because our next speaker, Sudarshanji, is already here. He was supposed to start the session at 10:30, but then half an hour late. So please come back at 11.